Three, two, one, and we're good.
Doomed Nation. We're back and just me and Skaggs today. Just the two doomed men talking about how the world's doomed. And shit has gotten out of control this week.
Yeah.
I there's no adults in America. It's just children. We're the adults, and let me tell you, if we're the adults, we're pretty fucked. I'm upset. I don't know how you're drinking, not drinking tonight, because I'm not even putting ice in. I'm just taking shots of uh, good old monkey shoulder over here. So, it's the week after Memorial Day weekend. I hope everyone had a good Memorial Day. We had a pretty fun weekend, I'd say. No,
We did. We definitely did.
yep. Hope you got to enjoy it with your families and all that, and you weren't, cowering in quarantine.
Definitely.
So, where do you want to go with this? I'll let you start. You had more notes than me, and I just got a lot to say about a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Let me start with the point I made to you the other day. Has to do kind of a little bit of coronavirus, Joe Biden, Trump. And over the weekend, it was Memorial Day. And shout out to all the veterans out there. Thank you for your service.
Yes.
Joe Biden went to a cemetery to pay his respects to some of the veterans and whatnot, which is a nice gesture. But he was, it's an outdoor cemetery, and he was the only person he was there with was his wife. There was no other people there, and he had a mask on. Right? He didn't need to wear a mask. It's obviously
I'm so glad you're talking
a
about
political.
this, 'cause I have something after this.
A political, stunt basically, because
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
all of a sudden, now this thing has become, if you wear a mask, you're a Democrat, and if you don't wear a mask, you're a Republican. Because my other point is, President Trump, he went to Ford Motor Company's plant the other day.
Yep. I didn't wear a mask.
This is a plant with thousands of employees in it. They're all wearing masks, and he's not wearing a mask, and it's indoors. So what we basically have is two guys, one the president, one not the president, one wearing a mask when he shouldn't be, and one not wearing a mask when he should be. So literally, they are just doing the opposite thing of what they should both be doing, because they're only doing it as a the both of them are doing it only as a political ploy.
Photo op. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Influencers in the wild. They're out there looking for likes.
Right. Biden wants to. He wants to be on the side of wear a mask and be responsible, and Trump wants to be on the side of get business open and we don't need to wear masks anymore and whatnot.
Yeah.
Regardless of the fact if they actually had to wear a mask or not, it's not even about the facts with the two guys running for president. It's just political fucking posturing, basically.
So I'm glad you brought this up as the first thing, because yay me, I'm an essential worker again, and state of Connecticut slowly reopening, and I'm getting back into work. And I came home from work on my first day, and my father's listening to the news, and I don't know what channel, I don't know the newscast, who was talking about it, but I could hear what they were saying, and they said very much along the lines of what you're talking about, Skaggs, is, well, Joe Biden does very well with the cities and the Democratic states, where Trump does very well with Middle America. And, Middle America, their COVID deaths are much lesser. They're opening up quicker than we are. And he's looking strong, not wearing a mask. It's what his party's side to do. And then he was like, well, on the flip side, Joe Biden's very popular in the cities that got hit hard. So when you're in those cities, you need to wear a mask. He's representing those people. He's, connecting to those people because he's the Democratic nominee. And in all the Democratic cities, you got to wear a mask and stuff. And the co-host said, how did masks become political?
Yeah.
Motherfucker, you just made it political on your show.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Right? You just made it political. You just said Trump's people don't wear masks. Biden people wears masks. How'd you make it political? Your script. That's how you made it. You know what I mean? Come on now.
The whole thing also goes back to something we've talked about a million times: is you can't believe or trust politicians or the government to do anything. The two dudes that are supposed to be possibly in charge are not doing things based on the situation, if they actually need to do it or not. They're only doing things for show.
I do have a question though, and this comes from like the right wing side and stuff. So I'm not saying Corona's a hoax or it's a conspiracy. There's truly a virus. we know we've been lied to, and there's some shady shit that's gone down. We at least know, they used Corona as cover to pull some shady shit off. What if Trump truly knows? But the answer is going to be, why wouldn't he tell us? But maybe he knows, like, he would have the most information on this shit, like he does need up-to-date information as the president. What if he knows, like, and this, this is part of the reason I've lost a little trust in him too. What if he knows, like, nobody needs to be wearing a mask? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what if he has the information, but like he knows the media is not going to air it, or maybe he's working with the media now. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I mean,
I've lost a little. Maybe he knows that, like, we don't need him, and that's why he's not. Just something to think about.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Maybe he does have the information, but I mean, he's never really said, we don't need to wear a mask. He just doesn't wear a mask, right? Maybe because it's just a political ploy, like he's using it as a way to show that he's a macho man, or something like that.
Don't disagree, yeah.
And that's why he doesn't want to say publicly, don't wear a mask, you know what I mean? Because if he had the information saying we don't need to wear masks, and then he wasn't wearing a mask, he's no longer a macho man. He's just, you know what I mean? He's just doing what the scientists say. But he's kind of going against, what Democrats want to do and what scientists want to do. Well, so he's trying to, you know what I mean? Even if he has the information, you don't need to wear it. He's not going to tell us that because he's not a rebel, I guess you could say.
Journalism has became like T-ball. I mean, it's so easy now. Like we were talking about this before. Like, so, you know what I mean? Like, he's just being the Republican and not wearing a mask and stuff. And the media just eats this shit up. Like, it also could mean nothing. It could just mean, like, maybe when Trump's sitting in a meeting, he has a mask on. There's no you know what I mean? Like, for the cameras, Trump walks with it, without one, and Biden walks with one. But
yeah, that's possible. That's possible. That just plays into what we're saying more, that they're just doing it for the camera, both of them.
Yeah, it's just a meatball down the middle. Like, so when I sent you that picture earlier today of Pelosi got mad at Trump for going after Twitter, which is something we're definitely going to talk about later.
Yeah, I want to hit social media big.
And she was annoyed at what Mark Zuckerberg said. I was like, oh boy, she chose the opposite side of him. Like, you don't even need to, like, make news anymore. You just take a topic and you put Nancy on this side or Joe Biden on this side, and you put Trump on that, and it's just sold as news.
Yeah, you were making the point that you don't even need them to actually say that. The media could just make it up, and the people believe it.
Don't even they probably don't even quote Nancy Pelosi anymore. They just wait for the topic, and Trump ate chicken. Nancy Pelosi hates chicken eaters. Chicken eaters are the worst people in the world.
Yep.
Like, they didn't even need to ask her that. The news writes itself.
Yeah. Or like I said, they work in lockstep with a politician like Nancy. Say Trump comes out on a certain position. MSNBC calls up Pelosi's office and be like, okay, what's the counterpoint going to be? You know what I mean? Like, they already know there's going to be a counterpoint. Not, what is your position on this issue? No. What's the counterpoint going to be? That's probably what they ask.
Yeah. How are we gonna beat this?
Yep. Social media is the same way, dude. So, and that was one of the things I definitely wanted to hit.
Let's save that. I mean, we got a couple of good topics.
I'll let you keep going with what you wanted to talk about.
So I found this. It's from The Blaze. It's a website or a newspaper I never heard of, but it was done May 28th. So today.
I think The Blaze is where Tommy Lahren used to work, and that's just with Fox, I think.
Fauci changed his tune. Now says second COVID-19 wave may never happen, and mask wearing is symbolic. I don't care what the quote is, but all I have heard is nothing but flip-flopping from him, the CDC, and the WHO. Can we, even if it's a lie, can we just stick to one? Like, this is like a photo op almost now. Like, people jumped on him for a while and said how much they didn't trust him, and now he's the first one back to saying, "Oh, we should open up and we might not need to wear masks." Just last week, I saw something that said, "Oh, we're going to keep wearing masks." Now he's saying you don't need to wear a mask; it's symbolic. What is going on? Like I said, there's no adults left in America.
I remember in the beginning, Fauci said we didn't need to wear masks,
and then changed his tune, and then change it again.
That's what, this type of shit just makes it harder for us to believe any of these people.
Thank you. Nobody's helping. The media isn't helping, but neither are anybody that we're trying to trust here. You know what I mean? That's why it's a perfect example of why, as much as, you know, Trump's really going to have to fuck up for me to, I guess, not vote, because I couldn't vote for Joe Biden. But, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, it's got, I can't even think of like the words. It's just gotten so out of control. There's nobody reasonable anymore. It's all for a photo op, and there's no straight line. You can't believe anyone.
Yeah.
This is why I've lost trust in not only everyone. You know, the Democrats are trying to put things into bills for illegal aliens. What that has to do with the virus is beyond me. The Republicans don't do anything to defend the people that they, you know, serve.
Yeah, the Republicans
Trump
don't do
is
anything. It's amazing.
Yeah, no, they don't. They don't. And Trump's out there in the middle of a fucking the Ford plant with no mask on. What the fuck are you doing? What next? Are you going to come down with COVID, or do you know that COVID's not real? Like, what's going to go? Like, it's just a circus at this point. It's an absolute circus.
You put a good. You said it perfectly. You've lost trust. Like they've, you know, who knows what to believe anymore at this point. You know, like. In your everyday life, you know, our leaders are supposed to set an example, you know, for us. This is what's the deal. This is how you should behave and what, not maybe how you should behave, but this is what, you know, they're supposed to set the example and like tell us kind of what to do. Not that they tell us what to do, but here's the situation. Here's how you should behave, right? Because of whatever's going on. But you can't believe it anymore. No. You can't believe either of them because it's all bullshit. They're not doing anything.
Listen.
And how do they even get that trust back at this point? Fuck, no, like it's so shattered.
You would need to drain the swamp. You would need to turn over all of Congress. You would, and that includes Republicans. Trump would need to be out of the office. Like, I mean, new players
like a fresh
across
start,
the board.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Like it's the only way. Like, because at this point now, you can't even trust like people writing in a new law. So, like, I don't know if you saw the House Democrats were going to do that proxy vote.
Got canceled like yesterday, right?
Yeah. So it was going to do change. It was going to make changes to the FISA court, right? And so what a lot of people don't know, because the media won't fucking talk about it, and it's huge news. And I know I'm going into another subject, so we could go back to, you know, the masks if you want. But it's where was I going? I'm talking about
the FISA court.
Yeah, the FISA court. So Obamagate. And now I don't know if Obama has anything to do with it, but that's what it's labeled on the internet as, Obamagate. And Trump is, you know, the Department of Justice is full blown, and Attorney General Barr is full blown into investigating the origins of the Russia hoax. And there's a lot of problems with the FISA accords that they put together that were spying on Trump on why they were allowed to actually do this. And it kind of seems like Obama from the top down knew. You know, there's I have a pretty good quote here that, you know, I'm not accusing Obama of anything because his name hasn't really popped up. You know, you're not gonna fucking know shit if he did anything or not. But this is a good quote. You know, so we already know the Russia hoax was a hoax and they spied on Trump.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's what Attorney General Barr is investigating now, and that's what Obamagate's about. Barack Obama denied the duly elected Donald Trump and the American people a peaceful transition of power. So now it goes on to he must be punished to the full extent of law without mercy. But whether he's guilty or not, Trump's campaign got spied on, and you denied all of us the peaceful transition of power. This is huge news. Rod Rothstein has to go up on trial now. He's going to be questioned in the court of law. Mm-hmm. Like the dominoes could eventually start falling around this, and we could see like big corruption. But I don't trust anyone to actually follow through with this. So that's what. So back to my original point, you can't even trust people making laws. They were trying to make amendments to the FISA court laws and rules. So somewhere down the line, where, you know, what Trump's investigating, the laws would be changed, and, you know, people would get off scot-free. That's why Trump was like, I will veto this if it's, you know, voted on.
They're trying to change the rules so that if the investigation shows that something did go wrong, that technically is not wrong anymore because they changed the rules.
Right. They didn't break any rules because they made the rules after the fact, and now that they're being investigated, we didn't break if they passed that bill. Mm-hmm. We didn't break any bills. Look at that. You can't investigate us now.
You know, it's just even more disheartening, dude. Like, this is what they're working on.
Yeah.
like working
Oh,
on
yeah.
courts and rules and things, and how they're going to fuck each other over, rather than what are we going to do for the American people and help with this whole situation. No. They're working on gaming the system against each and this like just political battles against each other. How can we change the rules so that when it's our turn, we can, get back at the Republicans? No one gives a fuck about that. No one gives a fuck.
Now you understand why I'm taking shots.
Yeah.
Now you understand why I'm taking shots. It's ridiculous. It's just all shit. There is, what is it? It's over 14% unemployment now, right? We were down to what, 3-4%?
I think it's like 18% or something like that.
Okay. And we tanked an economy over a virus that has a 99% survival rating. And I'm sorry for everyone who lost, loved ones and stuff. But a lot of people who died had, pre-existing conditions. The whole nursing home thing just stinks of high heaven to me. Like,
that's where they got hit hard the most. It's old people, recirculated air there.
Yeah. There's just so much going on, and they're not even working on it. No one's working on this. We're screwed. We gave up a ton of rights. Like, I know me and you, like, we're pretty much over the quarantine, and we believe, like, you can't live in a bubble for the rest of your life. Things are going to have to go back to normal. We can't just sit around and wait any longer. What we did to, prevent things, fine, but it needs to move forward.
You want to hear a crazy stat I heard today? This plays into your point. On Joe Rogan's podcast, I heard a stat today that said that for every 1% of unemployment, 30,000 people die per year because of like poverty, suicide, just bad conditions, loss of whatever. So if we went from 3 to 18, that's 15%, right? If you're going to say that each 1% is 30,000 deaths, that's like 450,000 people that could die from unemployment and bad economic conditions. That's being ignored, as we've said before. Yeah. Go ahead.
That's more than COVID-19 is killed.
Right. Okay? Yeah.
No matter what happens, how many people die, cigarette deaths in the United States alone and car accidents in the United States alone will probably kill the same number of worldwide people who died from COVID-19. Okay. These are all things that are looked over. Okay. And we didn't shut down the economy for hundreds of thousands of cigarette deaths. Look up when Obama was in office, how many people died from H1N1. I know it wasn't as contagious, but a lot of people died. Right. 2 years ago, 80,000 people died from the flu. You didn't miss a fucking day of work. I didn't miss a day of work. The unemployment, unemployment was still going down back then. Yet, nothing stopped.
We didn't alter our society because of the flu. Yeah,
nothing. So now that we understand that this is just like the flu, like, why are we still altering our fucking society?
Yeah, they're because, like we've said before, once you give the government certain power, they don't want to give it back. It's hard to get those things back. That's why you got to be careful, regardless of the situation. If it's a pandemic, if there's an attack, 9/11, you can't just sign away all your rights for personal safety because you're not going to get them back in the long run. Maybe after that situation's over, they're going to hang on to those shits.
That's why I get afraid of socialist ideas and. It's real easy to become communism. And through this, I've learned the pretty great difference between the two. It's just communism comes way easy.
Yeah. But there's a difference, though, between, I'd say, some of the socialist things that I support and then, like, your rights. My big socialist thing I support is I think the government should just cover Medicare for everybody. That has nothing to do with that's actually me gaining the right to health care.
I understand. Yeah. I mean, it's two different scenarios, but, like, you could see, like, how enough of that causes communism.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's what we did in this pandemic. There's people who still haven't left their house.
Yeah, right? the people waiting for the vaccine. Those are my favorite people. The waiting for vaccine people.
I don't get it. Like,
those are my two favorites. The waiting for a vaccine people and the people wearing the mask in the car. Those are my two favorite quarantine people. Yeah.
And isn't it crazy that there's a type of person across the board?
Yeah.
Like in every situation.
If you're waiting for a vaccine, let's just put this out there. Everyone has said this lately. A vaccine is not guaranteed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It takes years of study and scientific trials and things like that. There's no vaccine for AIDS. There's no 100% vaccine for the flu. Maybe they won't be able to make a fucking vaccine. Who knows?
Exactly. And to put... You're putting all your chips on one number. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and it's something that's not coming for a long
Sorry, there's a
time,
huge
which is
bug
even
here. I'm about to
crazier.
squash.
Murder him.
Yep. Oh, fell behind the computer. All right, he's dead.
But
Yeah.
I noticed a difference. So like one of the big world changing events was 9/11.
Yeah.
You know why there was no chaos during 9? Well, obviously minus the actual chaos. Now I got my own ideas and thoughts and beliefs about 9/11, but after 9/11, you know why there was no chaos and all that shit? And you know, the NSA did create the boogeyman, and we gave up our privacy almost. It was because everyone was on the same fucking page.
Yeah, we were
There was
attacked.
nothing.
Yeah, there was a unifying attack against us.
There was nothing about the Democrats want this and the Republicans want. And now I was young when it happened, so I didn't follow the news back then. There could have maybe been a ton of that I don't know about. But like today, here's another life-changing event, and we're arguing over if we should wear masks. Why isn't the president wearing a mask? Yeah. Why are you trying to change bills to something that the president's investigating? You know what I mean? Like, they're not even working on getting us back to work.
Things have changed though, bro. It's been 20 years since then, and like people are so much more divided now. It's from the Congress and the government to just regular people.
But it's the same, minus Trump. It's the same fucking faces in government.
True.
Biden,
but yeah,
Clinton,
it is. But the times have changed, and those people are facetious or whatever the fuck it's called. Like they just go with whatever is popular at the time. And right now, it's popular to hate each other, so that's what they do. Mm-hmm. They don't have any backbone or anything like Bernie Sanders does. The fucking guy's talking about the same thing his entire life, same points forever. Hillary and Biden and Mitch McConnell, they just go with the wind wherever it's fucking. They don't have any actual points.
Well, they go wherever they're told to go.
Yeah, wherever their constituency goes, or the people lobbying them tell them to go. They have no backbone. That's why things are way more divided now, and that leads me into what I want to really talk about a lot is social media and how that fucking divides everybody. And like I said, it perpetrates fucking everything from me and you to Trump and Biden. But there was an article came out the other day about Facebook, about how they had information for a while now about how the algorithms, and if anybody doesn't know what an algorithm is basically a computer code that governs what you see on your Facebook newsfeed. So there's a code in the background that chooses exactly what you're going to see every time you open up Facebook. Back in the day when Facebook was brand new, I don't know if you remember this, Cap, you used to say most recent, and it would be it would go by time, right? So whoever posted something the most recently would be the first thing you'd see.
And it was also just all of what your friends were posting. If you now the algorithm of Facebook, every third or fourth post is an advertisement.
Yeah. But what the algorithm,
a lot of people don't notice that.
Yep, it's true. But they got to make money somehow, and I have no problem with an advertisement. What I have a problem with is the algorithm is basically social engineering, because what the algorithm is trying to do, Facebook wants people engaged, or Twitter or Instagram, whatever. They want people on social media all day. Because if you're on social media all day, that means you're going to see that advertisement that you just saw, and then they could charge more for advertisements. So what the algorithm has figured out over time, and I don't think that, Zuckerberg or Jack Dorsey, any of these guys even, they didn't even design it that way. They just designed the algorithm. I don't think so. I think they designed the algorithm to promote engagement, and the algorithms figured out over time that the things that are likely to get people to be engaged are anger. When you're mad about something, when you see something about you, right? When you see something about Nancy Pelosi on Facebook, doesn't it annoy you? Like some meme about her or whatever, and you're more likely to go click go in the comments and engage. Right. If it was something like Trump giving a thumbs up, you'd be like, awesome, and you just keep going. You wouldn't really pay it any mind.
It's stopping power. It's
exactly
what gets
right. It gets you to stop. Getting someone angry gets them to stop and engage in that thing. Right? Yeah. When you're angry, then you go into the comments, you might write something. You find someone else with a different point of view, and boy, you go to war in there, especially on Twitter. Yeah. Twitter's the worst. Twitter is a cesspool battlefield of people fighting all day long. And it's just, you can't win. Especially when you get behind the anonymity of a computer where, it's not like someone's going to punch you in the face. Yes. People say the worst shit.
There's that great saying, it's a lot of you have never gotten punched in the face, and it shows. Social media would be real different if like you guys got into a fight and they're like, all right, well, here's this person address, you could go, really
Yeah.
fight them.
Yeah. But that algorithm and has caused people to fight, and that is what has caused society to become so divided. Because look, even your friends might fucking post something that you disagree, and that shit's popping right to the front of your fucking page, and then you're gonna go in there. Maybe you argue with your friend, and then over time, you and your friend, sadly, maybe you're not friends anymore because you have political differences.
Think we know people who are on two different sides of the party. We can't put them in the same room.
Yeah, they kill each other. They hate each other. You know, we've talked about trying to get people like that into a podcast, but to even get them into it, it's like probably not going to happen.
The other one wouldn't show up if they knew who they were working with.
Yep. The whole with all this shit,
and it would turn it.
With like Zuckerberg and whatnot. Like you don't realize you've kind of damaged society. What I understand you're making more money, and those are really profitable companies. But when does it come to a point where you're like, maybe we should end the algorithm determining what you see and just put it back to most recent?
Haven't you learned enough?
Yeah, or haven't you done enough damage yet? Like people are still going to go on Facebook if it said most recent and see the advertisements and shit. You don't need to target things to us. I've heard about
that's why when you say, I'm not going to get into it. I don't even have a conspiracy to quote. Just my own personal belief of it. That's why when you said you don't think they created the algorithm that way, I truly do.
Not with that intention. Not with that intention. They created it to help. They created it to promote engagement, not with the intention to make everybody hate each other. You know what I mean? The algorithm just naturally figured out hating people getting mad. You see what I mean?
Well, I'm going to take as engagement as spending money. So advertising works. The problem, though, is I think their intentions somewhere along the line changed out of greed just to make more money. Because how many times, I'll never forget, I was with somebody and she said, she found her old BlackBerry and she's like, I love this little phone. I'm going to go back to the BlackBerry. Fuck iPhone, blah, blah. And an hour later, I'm on Facebook and I got an advertisement for Blackberries, and Blackberries were like a decade ago by now. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I haven't talked about Blackberries. I didn't even remember they existed. Yet, boom, there's a fucking, advertisement on my phone.
That stuff is suspicious. I've heard my professor back in school say that happens because they're listening. It's not even that they're listening. It's that their marketing and advertising algorithms are so good at predicting what you're interested in that they could make you think they're listening, but they're really not. It's just that's how good these algorithms are predicting something you want to look at. But I mean, they could be listening.
Everything we say. I think they have. I think they have all the information they want, and so maybe for them, this algorithm's innocently started to promote their company, but somewhere along the line, that shit got weaponized. And don't think for a second that the government didn't know beforehand or during what type of potential that was.
Yeah. Not only did they know, bro. There's Cambridge Analytica. It was a data company. I've mentioned them to you before. They used social media and whatnot during the 2016 campaign. To Trump's side. I don't remember the whole story. There's a whole documentary I watched about it. But this company, basically Cambridge Analytica, did a lot of shady shit regarding all that stuff. And
everybody did a lot of shady shit. Yeah. Google.
Yeah. I'm not saying they didn't. I'm just saying just one example.
Yeah, Google's getting all 50 states, I think, are sending an attorney general or whatever, the state attorney general, to file an antitrust lawsuit based off of the 2016 election that it suppressed Trump information.
Yes, they do that all the time.
Shoved Hillary Clinton stuff down your throat. And that's why this whole thing with Twitter and stuff right now, originally when Trump jumped all over Twitter, I was like, and I still think like he really overreacted. But like also at the same time, I think like he knows something. Yeah, with the whole executive order he just done.
Right.
I mean, he blew up and he blew up fast over a fact check. Even though the fact check was wrong. I'm pretty sure it was wrong. I've been reading up on stuff. I think they fact checked him, and then it was. Yeah, I think the voter mailer, and I have a good point about that if we ever get around to it. But I think they fact-checked him on something he said, and the fact was wrong because what he said wasn't really false. And then Twitter refused to reverse its saying. So like they were just fine with their fact checking being wrong. They just wanted to make sure everyone. Well, that's what
knew
Trump
that they
saying.
were fact checking him.
No, yeah. So they said they fact checked him, and when it found out that they were wrong, they didn't want to remove it. You know what I mean? Like they were proven wrong. So like, who's, you know what I mean? Like, why would you even tempt that? Why would you even tempt that with Trump of anybody? But like,
he does say a lot of not fake, but false shit on Twitter.
He says a lot of crazy shit. Yeah. For somebody I love, I know I've lost a little bit of trust in him. Twitter's, to me personally, I get it. Like freedom of speech. Thank God we have it. He gets what he wants to say out there. Cool. I think that's a great tool of his. I also always thought Twitter was his downfall. There is shit that he has said that I'm just like, unfucking necessary, man.
Here's the thing too, like, is it Twitter's responsibility to be the justice of the truth? You know, I heard that being mentioned today. Like, is it their job to say what's right? Because Twitter's just made up of human beings, right? And human beings are biased. So who's to say? Like, Trump even tweeted it himself that the guy who was like the content moderator at Twitter posted all these tweets about how he hates Trump. So what do you think, that guy's going to be fair on anything he fucking moderates over Trump? Because it's a messy situation, dude. Messy fucking situation.
But we have the freedom of speech. And now, look, you know what? Truthfully, I don't even know if the moderator did hate Trump. Because
I saw tweets of his that were like talking shit about Trump.
Because, I mean, just how convenient is that? But if it is that convenient, and I mean, clearly you have a guy that is in a position that should be an unbiased position. If you're running a fair company, like, you know, unless you want to completely change Twitter, unless you want to completely change, you know, Twitter's platform and make it all private and you got to pay to use it and you have full control over what everyone says, then that's what you got to do. But until then, we have freedom of speech. You know, when you go to work, you know, freedom of speech, you have it, but you can't go up to your boss and tell him to go, you know, suck my dick, fuck you. You'll get fired. Yeah. You don't have freedom of speech to go to a private company that pays you and curse out the boss. But on something like Twitter, you know, you make enough money in advertisement. We all use your product. You're one of the biggest brands. I have the freedom of speech.
So you're advocating that they just leave it be like the Wild West. You can say whatever you want. Doesn't matter if you're totally full of shit. Whatever.
Yeah, sure. Because, you know, I think Zuckerberg actually said it because he must have, because I found it like pretty agreeable. He's like, Facebook and Twitter shouldn't be where you go to find truth.
Right. That Yeah. Let's bring it back to him real quick, though. What you were saying before about how you think that they do know what they're doing with the algorithms. That article that I read said that it was brought to Zuckerberg's attention that the algorithm was having, you know, the algorithm was doing this against their intentions of what they wanted it to do. And he was like, yeah, but it's working. Just leave it be because we're making a bunch of money. You know what I mean? But originally
who's in his pocket? Who's in his pocket, too, that he's paying off? You know what I mean? Guy got caught lying in a court system. He got caught with perjury, and it was poof the next day. It wasn't even news.
It's an interesting scenario, though, dude. Like you said, you know, whose responsibility is it to say it's the truth? And then other people that are telling you this is right or wrong, are they right or wrong? Are they lying to us? How do you know?
You know what? You know why I'd rather leave social media like the Wild West? Because social media has ruined society to begin with. You know, whether its intentions were to do that or not, it's really had a negative effect.
I think so.
So if it's the Wild West and people can't handle it, you could always leave and we go back to it's the conservative in me, yes, but you know, we could just go back to before.
What do you mean by leave? Like
I know. That's
like you could leave personally, you know, but unless we're gonna like government shut down and mandate that they can't exist, which is never gonna happen because they're worth too much money and data is worth too much money.
And I completely agree. Facebook and social media is like Amazon. We've lived through the creation of two things that changed the planet. There's no going back. No. There's no going back. Like Amazon's a great, you know, idea. Like, you know, shopping malls and stores are doing so bad because Amazon's outperforming them. Amazon is the evolution. You know, we had the wheel and fire.
Right, it's a better option.
Well, not even capitalism. It's just the evolution of the world. Like you see, like the Jetsons with the flying cars, and they type into their computer and food pops up and shit. Like that's like the start of this. Like, yes, you know, it sucks. It's the start of, you know, the downfall of the, you know, small stores and shit. But there's no going back now. There's none. Like everybody's still gonna, as much as you might hate Jeff Bezos and think how bad this big corporation is, they shouldn't be making all this money. Still gonna use it. I know I am.
Yeah, I use it, and I get what you're saying.
Like,
definitely, you
that's
can't
social
stop the
media.
march of
It's changed-
technology, but
It's changed the world. It's connected us. The innocence of social media has connected us to be closer than ever before with anyone around the world.
yeah, and
Yeah.
and we've learned that maybe that's not a great thing. It's not,
But there's no going back now. That's the problem.
yeah, right. Once the toothpaste is out of the tube, you can't put it back in, as they say. Yep. There's nothing wrong with Amazon. Like I like Amazon. I think it's a good thing. My problem is that like you said, you can't stop something like Amazon from coming, and it's gonna wipe out small businesses. That's like pure capitalism, right? The problem with something like Amazon is they don't pay their workers anything.
Yeah.
Like they're not fairly compensating the people. So if you have one company that eradicates all the other competition and that company doesn't pay its workers anything, you have just basically slaves at the end living in poverty, and they can't participate in the economy.
And what did we talk about on last week's? It's been like this since slavery.
Yeah.
They've just slavery is basically modified and evolved.
More
Amazon's like
sophisticated.
the end result. Yeah,
You can't be outright. You can't have outright slavery anymore because people wouldn't stand for
Yeah.
it. So now you got to get
Yeah.
crafty.
This is the new bare minimum everyone gets.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's they're still using the same playbook. I said that last week.
They are. They are just more more advanced tools.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Like I said, everyone is completely irrational. The world's completely gotten out of control.
Yep. The world. That's a good way to put it, dude. I was thinking about that later. That the world is completely get out of control. You know what I wanted to talk about? What do you got there?
I got one of these bad boys.
Those
The
are
River
one of my
Trip.
favorite fucking beers now.
Allagash, you guys are doing shit correct.
Yeah, those are really good.
Yeah.
You left a couple of those in my house. I drank them all within like a day.
I know. That's why the last time I came over and brought them, I brought them home with me.
You knew I was
Two
going to
good
drink them.
fucking ways. Yeah.
I wanted to talk though definitely about what we posted even on our Instagram the other day, and we actually got a lot of engagement from people about the mail-in voting and how Trump.
I have a good. Yep, go on. I have a good thing.
Yeah, Trump tweeted the other day about how mail-in voting is ripe with fraud, and that California wants to do that, and that everyone and anyone is going to be able to vote. That they're going to send a ballot to everyone, and everyone's going to be able to vote. Okay.
Right.
So we posted about it, and a lot of people were actually against mail-in voting, and some people made really good points about how like it could be ripe with fraud and has been in the past.
Yeah.
Trump's point,
to be fair though, regular voting is ripe with fraud as well.
It is. It could be. It could be.
So-
I didn't understand Trump's point though, because he was talking specifically about California. What does he expect? He expects he's going to win California? He's not going to win California, regardless of how many people there vote
But
or not.
the thing is, there, the fear, and I don't really believe it because, I don't believe the media and trust the media anyway. But they're making it sound like the mail-in voting is going to be very unsupervised, almost, where as long as you have an address, a mailbox or a PO box in the state of California, whether you're an illegal immigrant, whether you're dead and your PO box hasn't been closed, or whether you're a registered person, living in California,
Yeah.
you're going to get a ballot to vote in. So the fear is that, obviously, and this has nothing to do with a stance on illegal immigration. It's just the rules of a American, presidential election. Illegals aren't supposed to vote.
Yeah, I agree
only
with
American
that. Right.
citizens.
I agree with that.
So only
That's something everybody should agree with. Yeah, unless you're a citizen, you shouldn't be allowed to vote.
Yes. So the fear is in a state like California that all the illegal aliens are going to still be getting ballots and they're going to be casting their votes.
Yeah.
Just like
How
just
would
like
they,
so
though? They're
the
not
whole
registered
thing
in
with
the system.
yes, but they're still going to receive a ballot. And then so that's why I don't believe what they're saying, because you're right, they still have to be registered as a voter.
How would they? You're right. How would they get the ballot if they're not registered in the voting system with their address and whatnot?
But then also you could still send it to them, and those are the people that could sell their ballots, or they could, those are the ballots that could get stolen for the fraud. And the same thing, like in New York, if we were to go to voter ID, fucking if you're not an immigrant, you're allowed to get a New York driver's license. So now you have a form of ID in the state of New York. You know what I mean? So you could possibly register as well that way.
Can you though? Can you? I don't know.
I don't know.
Think
I
you
don't,
can,
I don't
dude.
know.
I don't think you could register to vote.
This isn't something I know about, and this isn't something I fully believe either. But that's kind of what I feel like Trump is talking about. But
maybe I feel like a lot of people make the argument though that the mail-in voting is going to be ripe with fraud because you know, I've heard this argument that, you know, say you live with your grandparents and they mail it all to your house, right? The ballots for your grandparents and for you, that your grandparents are you're gonna take your grandparents' ballot and you're gonna write in Obama because, you know, you're a liberal. But that could go the opposite way too. Who's to say every situation in every
where in the middle states they just start stealing all the ballots and write in Trump. So I have developed my own opinion on the whole mail-in thing. So the problem with mail-in voting, you know, first and foremost, the real core reason why I'm against mail-in ballots is so the way, and I'm sorry I'm being biased, but these are the people who are saying it. A lot of the Democrats are saying it's too dangerous to go to the polls because of COVID-19. That's why we need mail-in. That's why we need mail-in voting. Listen, I would buy it, but I just stood online today to get into Whole Foods. Around the corner, people were standing in line to get into Costco. The parking lot underneath them, people were standing in line to get into Home Depot. These big fucking corporations, it's safe to wait online and go into those stores, but it's not safe to wait online and cast my fucking vote for the president.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
I can't buy that. I can't. That's the core issue I have. I can't buy that. Don't tell me it's not safe. Okay? Because everybody who used that credit card keypad in CVS, you think that fucking mook from behind the counter is coming out after every 100 people and wiping it down? That thing gets wiped down in the morning and the evening, and that's it. Okay? Yeah, it's safe to use that at every liquor store across the country, but we can't wait online to go vote.
I agree with you, bro. That's a fucking great point, honestly. Yeah. That's a great point. Yeah. Who
and that's not even my fucking point on this matter.
Yeah. So, one thing I'll say is just, you know, like not that it's even a counterpoint to your point. You make a great point, but I think that we need to make it easier in general for people to vote. I shouldn't have to go wait online for fucking an hour to go vote.
That's agreeable.
You know what I mean? Why should it be difficult to go vote? Have you ever seen videos of the fucking line? Sometimes people online for hours.
Oh yeah, in
who's going to wait to do that? Yeah, like you know what I mean. And you could control the amount of people going to vote or who they're going to vote for by closing all the voting places in a Republican neighborhood or in a Democrat neighborhood or whatever. Now those people got to travel across town. Maybe they don't have cars. Maybe they're poor or whatever. Now they can't even get there. And then when they do get there, all the places are closed. There's one place. I got to wait in line for 4 hours. I got to go to bed. I got work tomorrow.
During working hours. Yeah, it's during working hours. Yeah.
And, or polling my clothes at a certain time before I even get in the building.
Yeah, like Amazon's the evolution of shopping in a department store. There does need to be a evolution of voting.
Yeah, I agree.
But right now, it's too untrustworthy of a platform to be making changes. I wouldn't trust it. But it kind of leads into my point right here. So my opinion is, though, I'm thinking of the aftermath here. Okay, so obviously you have the argument from a Republican, oh, the Democrats are going to create fraud. And then the Democrats' reaction is going to be, well, who's stopping the Republicans from creating fraud? Okay, so now let's think of the aftermath. Eventually, there's going to be a winner, Joe Biden or Donald Trump. The issue that I have of why I don't want mail-in voting is because if Joe Biden fucking wins, all the Republicans are going to say, "Oh, he cheated. There's voter fraud. Right. They rigged the system."
If they go with the mail-in voting, you mean? Yeah.
Right. Yes. So, and this is I have scenarios for both ways, and now even if it starts to come up from the surface, we've seen a lot of weird stuff that should be in the news that doesn't make it in the news. So now, if we start seeing that several fucking New York, Florida, Chicago, Illinois, whatever. Huge counts of voter fraud, but there's no investigation. And now that Joe Biden won, that's just going to get swept under the rug.
Yeah.
There's not going to be a loud enough voice to prove, if Joe Biden wins, there's not going to be a loud enough voice to prove that Joe Biden cheated or not, right? And we know the DNC in the last election did some shady shit.
Yeah, they're fucking corrupt as fuck, yeah.
And nobody's gone after him. Think of that. And Trump won. Nobody's even, you know what I'm saying? Now, the flip side is, if Trump wins, all of Congress and all the Democrats are going to say, oh, Trump cheated. All the Republicans did fraud, blah, blah. And now we're going to be led into another 2-year-long investigation to try and think of it.
Horrific thought.
If Trump wins, if Trump won through the mail-in, like the Democrats, obviously, they're painted to be the bad guys. If the Democrats pass all these mail-in voting,
and Trump still won,
systems, and Trump still won, you think they take that line down?
I don't know.
They haven't done it for the past 3-4 years. They haven't taken it laying down since 2016. We know Obama's administration was spying on him before he became president.
Maybe, but I mean, they might do that regardless of whatever the fuck the situation is. It seems like that's just politics now. We don't get anything done. We just fight against the other side to try and win. Politics has now just become trying to win the seat instead of actually using the seat to do anything. So that could be regardless of whatever happens, bro.
There is, for my rebuttal to that, that was put very well, that it's just to win the seat, not use the seat.
Yeah.
The reason nobody's using their seat right now is because in the White House, there is a non-establishment member. Yeah. We know one thing that everyone will agree on, whether you're Democratic or not. I don't think there's a single person in the world that thinks Trump is part of the establishment.
Yeah, the political establishment. Yeah, you're right.
And all the craziness we have seen, how crazy 2020 is
outside of the loop,
is all because there's someone sitting in the Oval Office that's not on their team.
So you think if, for example, it had been Ted Cruz who won and became president, it wouldn't be this crazy because he's still part of the establishment. And although he's a Republican, the Democrats are more willing to work with the establishment figures from the other side than a Trump.
So I read something about Ted Cruz, and this is very conspiracy theory, but and I don't know if I believe it. I don't have any solid proof or whatever. But at the beginning of the 2016 election, obviously Ted Cruz was complete anti-Trump. After Ted Cruz left, bowed out of the presidential race, he became all Trump, and he still is a Trump supporter. And so a lot of the conspiracy theory people believe that Cruz found out what the DNC had on him, or what the DNC, we'll take the DNC out of it, so I'll make it unbiased, what the establishment had on him. Because that's so in the conspiracy world, there's a lot of talk about the use of power by blackmailing people.
Yeah.
That's why Jeffrey Epstein's island was great, because you bring a politician there,
that information to use against people.
You bring a politician there, and he thinks he's sleeping with a 21-year-old, and it's now caught on camera that he slept with a 17-year-old. You know what I mean? So, and that's just a wild scenario to blackmail somebody. So they think either Ted Cruz found out something that was either going on, or because also with the Obamagate, there is talk that other candidates were being spied on. And so I believe, and what the conspiracy people believe, that Ted Cruz found something out, and that's why he became such a hard-nosed Republican and a bulldog that fights for Trump.
Yeah, I remember though he was against Trump a lot throughout the primary.
And now he's a supporter.
Yeah, he was still kind of against him even at the convention, the Republican National Convention. He told people to vote with your heart or something like that. He didn't when he gave his speech. I'm telling you, this is what I remember. When he gave his speech, he didn't fully come out and say I'm supporting Trump. He said he's like, my best advice is to just vote with your heart. Right, so at that time,
badmouth him.
No, he didn't badmouth him, but he didn't really endorse him either. As time goes on,
I'll take Trump wins. In 2020, I'll take that.
You know what I mean, though? As time goes on, Trump becomes president. Now, Ted Cruz, you got a Republican president. Whether you love him or not, you roll with your guy and you try and get done what you can. So that's why he kind of became a I think, or maybe he got to know Trump a little bit. And it's like, all right, this guy's willing to work with me. We could work. We could get something done together. I'm over here fucking supporting Ted Cruz. Protecting Ted Cruz somehow. But
yeah, and I'm fine with that. And I actually truly like Ted Cruz, and I hope in 2024 Ted Cruz runs again because he'd probably have my vote. I have liked what I've seen about him, and I haven't heard a lot of bad. Maybe there is, and my opinion can change. But at the same time, so you say, Ted Cruz as a Republican found out who Trump is, and that's why he became a supporter. Now ask yourself, how many other Republicans have done that? Ted Cruz isn't part of. Well, I can't say
he's an establishment, bro. Ted Cruz, yeah, he is.
Maybe he was. Maybe he was. But I don't.
But all the Republicans though are working with Trump now, though. You can't say they're not. They're lockstep with him. They're like unified.
They do. But there's a lot more the Republicans can be doing. And here I am.
That could be by design, though. That could be by design. They could be all have agreed to not do anything because that's the way fucking politicians are.
I know.
You're trying to see
your entire party gets continuously attacked, and you do nothing, and you let your leader get it.
They stick up for him all the time, bro. They stick up for him all the time. All the time. Remember when the whole fucking Mueller investigation was going on? They had that whole walkout, and they stood in the basement of the room, all of them, and they were like, this is all fucking farce and whatever, blah blah blah.
They do, but there's a lot of stuff that you could say like, why aren't the Republicans investigating this? Why aren't the Republicans? There's a lot of scenarios where.
Why didn't they fucking investigate Hillary for all the lock her up chance that Trump started? Why? Okay. Trump can order an investigation of any criminal thing, basically, right? He can instruct the Department of Justice to investigate stuff. Why didn't he instruct them to fucking do an investigation of Hillary?
Because the Department of Justice was still too dirty at that time to investigate her.
Why didn't he do it now? What's the difference? I still want to see Hillary fucking held accountable.
Obamagate could be the first domino in many.
I get your point, but why wasn't it? Why didn't this already happen? We're at the end of Trump's first term.
And I understand that. And that's what's made me, as somebody who likes his conspiracies.
It's just suspicious that
it is. No, and I 100% agree with you because remember, I've said I've lost trust in Trump during this coronavirus outbreak, and I have a rant to fucking go on after this about it. It's a rant in favor of Trump, but like I said, I've lost a little trust in Trump during this coronavirus because, like, in the conspiracy world, there was just countless fucking opportunities for him to. If the conspiracies are true, there was countless opportunities for him to fucking pull the plug on the swamp. But what they also try to remind you is if you're going to take on someone as big as Hillary Clinton, I mean, like, we're universally known, probably. I'm sure there's aliens that shit their pants when they find out they got to talk to her. Yeah. Fucking reptilians who eat people fucking can't be in the same room as her. And, if you're going to take out someone like Hillary, like Obama, like a big name that's loved across the board, you have to have all your ducks in a row. You have to have no leaks. You have to have hardcore evidence, like undeniable, no trial needed type of evidence. You can't listen, the Clinton body count is fucking real.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there's no denying. So think of all the people who have tried to do this to Hillary and fucking ended up dead. So if you're going to be in Trump's position and fucking take down a big name like that, all your ducks need to be in a row. If there's a single mistake, everyone dies. That shit takes time.
Yeah. It's like building an empire of corruption.
Yeah. Or toppling an empire of corruption.
I agree with you, bro.
So, oh man. Okay. So earlier tonight, this was something that really fueled me for this fucking week. How are we doing on time? What are we, about 45 minutes in?
Yeah.
Hour in?
Whatever.
Yeah.
Right now we're 53 minutes in.
There we go.
Cheers.
Cheers. And I got a lot more to talk about. This week has been infuriating.
Yeah.
We didn't even talk about, what's his name, George from
don't worry. I
Michigan.
plan on talking about that. I got a lot to say about that.
Okay. So I returned back to work and I realized I've been living in a fucking bubble. Obviously in quarantine, everybody's in a bubble. But like there's straight up like, I'm not going to say I work with them. I interact with a lot of people that don't work with my company. But, I came across somebody who literally moved in with their brother because he has a backyard and she's never leaving her house again until there's a vaccine. So now at least she has a backyard. She could get fresh air. Oh boy, what a fucking life to live.
Yeah. Real
I'm
exciting.
just going to work at home forever. I'm just going to work at home forever and walk around this little tiny backyard. Get the fuck out of here. But then, you know, somebody who is a smart guy and has taught me a lot in my, you know, position, and he doesn't even work with me. So, you know, it's nothing that the company can do. And he's a Trump supporter. Straight up said, COVID-19 is all of Trump's fault.
This guy's a Trump supporter?
Yeah. And like he's like, Joe Biden's going to win. I don't know if I could vote for Trump again. Trump fucked America up completely. He let all of us get sick. He didn't act soon enough. What are I've actually lost sleep over this at this point now.
I could tell.
I don't know. I don't know the exact dates, so I'm just going to make up dates. But on the 1st, Trump made a travel ban to China because that's where the virus originated from.
The 1st of what, March?
Then, whatever, I don't know the dates.
Okay.
I'm just going to use dates to
Yeah.
gap my timeline. So on the 1st, Trump said, we're going to have a travel ban. On the 5th, Nancy Pelosi was in Chinatown going, come on down. There's nothing wrong here. There's no virus, blah, 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 blah. You know, Trump's wrong. I oppose. Then on the 15th, when mad people were fucking sick, everybody's saying Trump didn't act fast enough.
Yeah.
He's the first person that did anything. If he did anything any earlier, you would have still shitted on him for it. What was he going to do? January 1st, shut down the economy because a few hundred people in China got sick? You know what I mean? Like
the Democrats would have argued against that and say that he's trying to take over.
No matter what date Trump acted on, he would have got a negative response. How can you watch the opposing side on the 5th say Trump's wrong, and then on the 15th say Trump didn't act fast enough? You should have been saying on the 30th and the 31st that Trump's not doing anything. He needs to act. So on the 1st, he makes an action.
I have actually the timeline here, so I could give you some actual dates. This is a long time ago. Back on January 31st, the Trump administration announced Chinese travel restrictions. January 31st. So
you didn't act fast enough.
Yeah.
What were we going to do in October?
If on January 31st, Trump said we have to shut down the economy and everybody's got to stay at home, nobody would have believed him. The Democrats would have fought him on it. They would have thought he's trying to become a dictator and rule everyone and whatnot. They would not have listened. So what you can't. Now, you want to they want to go back and do a revisionist history or whatever. You can't,
dude. How? And then on top of it, to say this is all Trump's fault. What?
Does China have no blame? I guess. Yeah.
Does China have no blame? Do governors who ran their state poorly and made poor decisions in the time of a crisis that got people killed? That's Trump's fault too? Fucking Cuomo. Oh, can you explain all the deaths in the nursing homes? I don't know. Blame Trump. Just because Trump's the bad guy in the media, we get to blame. China started this fucking, and we don't even know if it was biologically engineered or if it was a biological weapon.
Right, or
that China fucking, or if it was some type of chemical accident that fucking China released into the world. This is Trump's fucking fault.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's no more rational people. The two doomed men are the only adults left in America. Us and I guess Joe Rogan, because he's the Fear Factor guy, and us. Yeah. Okay, the world is fucked. I mean, just give me a break here.
No one's looking at anything with nuance or even with an open mind. Just no one's even trying to look at the facts anymore. Like, who the fuck even did what I just did? 6 seconds. I Googled coronavirus timeline, and it tells you the dates that actions were taken and things happened.
All the people who are not coming out of their house till they have a vaccine. Yeah. All the people sitting in their cars by themselves with a mask wrapped around their head. All the people who are blaming Trump for all the deaths in, hashtag Trump lied, people died. All those people back on January 31st, I could promise you, Kathy fucking Griffin, every single one of them back on January 31st didn't give two fucks about coronavirus.
No, they didn't.
Okay? They didn't give a fuck about coronavirus until it was an opportunity to oppose Trump.
Yeah, that's a good point, bro. That's a good point. The vaccine people and whatnot. I can't stand those people and people that go, "Oh, it's not safe enough to open it." In your opinion, then people that say it's not safe enough, when is it going to be safe? When the coronavirus doesn't exist anymore? Because that may never happen. Coronaviruses have been around forever.
How long has swine flu been around forever?
It's easy to just say we can't do anything until it's safe. What is your definition of safe? Because then, you know what I mean? We're never safe from everything. That's not possible. It's just a made-up fucking thing.
More people are going to die in America in car accidents this year than they're going to die from COVID-19 worldwide. You're still going to get, no matter how much you want to quarantine and how much you're waiting for a vaccine, you still got to get in your fucking car and go buy groceries and go pick up medicine from the pharmacy. Okay? You're just as likely to die. You're more likely to die on that trip to CVS that's still fucking open, that you're going to wait in line to walk in, but you can't wait in line to fucking go vote. You're going to wait. You're more likely to die on the trip there or the trip home than you are from COVID-19.
Look, and we're going to see over the course of time, does the economic repercussions of these measures we've taken because of coronavirus, or are those repercussions going to cause more people to die than the coronavirus itself? We don't know right now because and it's going to take time to see that. But we'll see. We'll see.
I've seen so many headlines and so many articles and so many posts that doctors have said the state of California has seen a year's worth of suicides in 1 month.
Yeah, right. Those count.
One of the largest states in the fucking country. If normally 200,000 people committed suicide in a year in the state of California, 200,000 people just committed suicide in 1 month in California. What are we doing here? We're
They're ignoring that. That's what we're doing.
This is depopulation. If coronavirus is actually bioengineered, I mean, the aftermath of it and the virus itself, this is depopulation.
It's like a perfect disease for the fucking crazy times that we live in right now. Like it's so much doubt behind everything. It's like the perfect disease struck at the perfect time.
And I always say there's no coincidences. Yeah. Everything's by design.
Yeah, I mean
that's my rant. That's my rant on that. Let's go to the next thing. My chest hurts. I'm so fucking annoyed.
Listen, I don't want to rush this because this deserves a lot of time. So whatever, however long it takes, it takes. You know, this situation deserves the amount of time we're going to talk on it. Though, I definitely wanted to talk about George Floyd. I'm sure most people know by now what happened. I think it was 2 days ago. George Floyd.
Yeah, what's today's date? May 28th.
Yeah, I think it was 2 days ago that this happened again. George Floyd is an African-American guy who lives in Minneapolis, and he was basically murdered by a police officer, right? What the situation was, apparently, I looked into it, and I saw the video, which was fucking horrific. I actually sat there and watched the 10-minute video of what happened to him, and I couldn't really sit through the whole thing I couldn't sit through the whole thing. I couldn't sit through the whole thing, after a while.
I haven't watched it, and I didn't even look up what he got arrested for.
Yeah, so what the cops were called for on him to come, what they were called for was forgery. Okay. It's not even clear what kind of forgery it is, but when I think of forgery, I think of fucking Bernard Madoff. Did anybody kneel on that guy's fucking neck? No, they didn't. It was a nice PR fucking publicity thing when they took him in. But I'm not gonna blame every police officer. Is there problems with policing? Of course there is, especially when it comes to minorities and African Americans and whatnot. But when it comes to this situation, this cop fucked up, and I know a lot of cops who agree. A lot of good cops are like, "This is fucking crazy. What was this guy doing?"
99% of the police force. Yeah. From the most northern shore of Maine across to the most southern shore of California is just as upset as everyone else.
Because of course, because they don't want shit like that to happen. Now their jobs are even harder because of that, and a guy lost his life in the process that didn't need to. And my
I agree.
What really chaps my ass about the whole situation, besides the fact that this guy, innocent guy, lost his life, is what's going on social media about it. I have seen nothing but posts on Twitter and Facebook trying to compare the protests to the coronavirus protests or the Second Amendment protests, where guys showed up at the Capitol with guns, and they're like, "Oh, look at the difference between protests when they protest for a black man being killed by the police compared to white people protesting at the state capitol with guns." The two, first of all, they're two completely different topics people are protesting about, right? Second of all, the protests that are happening in Minnesota right now have turned violent, right? You can't just ignore that. And people are saying that the cops are firing tear gas at and you know what? I don't even blame the people for getting violent, because it comes to a point where enough is enough, and you have nothing left but to become violent.
I'm
But
50-50
you can't.
on the violence. I have my own point, but
I'm not condoning the violence, but I'm saying I don't blame people from becoming violent. What I'm saying is you cannot. These social justice warriors on Twitter are trying to omit the fact that the protests have become violent. They didn't maybe intend to become violent, but they just have, because people are fucking angry.
It's justified that they. So
no. They're not even saying that it's violent, bro. They're pretending like they're not violent, and then they're trying to compare it to the protests with the guns.
I get what you're saying, but I've seen a lot of people saying that the violence is justified. That all the burning of the stores and the looting and the rioting is now justified because this has happened so many times.
Yeah. See, I'm not going to say it's justified. I understand the violence, but it's not justified.
It's not.
Yeah.
You know my point. You know what? Something that crossed my mind today, and I have a lot of opinions on this, from conspiracies to just actual like heartfelt opinions on it. Like, listen, you know what the problem I have with the rioting and the violence and the looting? It's just like the Trump derangement syndrome, where you could interview somebody on a college campus and release a crazy quote and be like, who said this, Donald Trump or Chuck Schumer? And 99% of the time people are like, oh, Donald Trump said that, and they're like, oh no, actually you're wrong. Back in 2015, this is what Chuck Schumer said. And right now, if you were to able to interview these people who are looting these stores and burning these stores down, why are you doing? What's the name of the guy that you are looting this store for? Why was he being arrested? Name the officer who killed him. I don't know.
Yeah.
They're looting the stores to fucking get a new TV and, just to get free shit at this point. Why is it always that they're burning? And I really wish this doesn't happen. I don't want any harm to come to police where blue line people, but the police did do something wrong here. If you want to riot and you want to break shit and you want to burn shit down, how come the owners of the small businesses and the owners of the cars you flip and the owners of the Target and the employees of the Target got to pay for? Go to the police station. Go to the courthouses. Start breaking down doors. Start breaking windows.
I thought the same thing.
Why? How? And now I understand the police. Yeah. Go to City Hall and start flipping fucking cars and breaking windows and starting fires in the bathroom and shit. You're attacking people who feel the same way as you and have to pay.
Your own community that are suffering probably from the same, shit behavior from certain police officers and racism from people.
Yeah, in LA, the freeway came to a screeching halt because Black Lives Matters fucking stormed the highway and they started bashing in white people's cars. I'm a white guy who's just as annoyed as you, but now you're going to break all my windows and dent my car up, and I got to pay $10,000, $5,000 in damages.
They're in the middle of an economic downturn, too, because of coronavirus, not to mention.
Yeah. And that's the other fun. How is CNN going to spin the story of all these people looting and not wearing masks and not practicing social distancing, and none of them get sick? You think there's going to be a report of how many people got sick from looting and rioting?
Nah,
not going to be too many. That's
a good point, dude. I bet you. No, they're not going to do that research because they.
Where's that? Yeah. It goes against the agenda. Where's that statistic?
It goes against the divisive agenda.
If we all start looting stores, we don't need to wear masks in stores anymore. All right, no problem. You know what I mean? Like that. Yeah. That's not going to come up. That's never going to come up. But dude, like I get it that you're mad, but most of these people, the dudes you see in the Target that's on fire and they're hammering out the fucking cash registers, none of those guys could tell you the name of the fucking of the guy that died and why he died.
Let me go a step further here too. People doing that are gonna just harm the cause in general, right? Because now, definitely there was a good protest in the beginning, like the day one, by Black Lives Matter and stuff like that. They went there to start a peaceful protest, and shit got out of control because anger, just fucking comes up inside of you after a while, and people go crazy, and then mob mentality happens and whatnot. But the fact that now people are burning down buildings and throwing rocks at police officers' cars and stuff like that, now that you have like, let's say, what we talked about in the last episode, like that fucking power structure in the country has like that excuse to say, oh, look, you see what I mean? Look at these people, they're this whole movement's bullshit. It's all criminals and this and that and whatever. You've handicapped yourself. You know what I mean? That fucks up what good people that wanted to protest wanted to talk about, which is that this is a problem that keeps happening and we need to address it. Now, forget about it. The whole message of that has been lost because all the media and whatnot is covering is buildings on fire and Target being, broken into and people losing.
The media is doing its job and making it worse.
Yes.
So
agreed.
I'm going to get into a bit of a conspiracy theory here. So a lot of reason why people believed the lockdown occurred and Trump, closed the economy was because he was going to drain the swamp, and so this is all conspiracy theory. It's fine. But so a lot of people said, this is really smart that Trump's going to close the economy and people can't go to work because now there can't be any false flag operations. There can't be a surprise terrorist attack in Times Square, or there can't be a surprise mass shooting at a hockey arena. Right. And so now I'm not going to say Democrats. I'll say the establishment. The establishment can use a false flag to, shift the narrative or push an agenda or get your attention away from something. So this is the fear in coronavirus has now been going down. We know, people are asking too many questions.
The curve has been bent.
Boom. Here's your next news story. On top of that, last week, Joe Biden dropped that fucking bomb. No one talks about it anymore. It's already old fucking news. But on the Breakfast Club, that's
a good point, dude. I didn't even think of that.
If you gotta think about who you're gonna vote for between Donald Trump and me, then you ain't black. Okay, that didn't go over fucking well at all. Now here we are a week later, and there's a race war. Shocking. All of a sudden, a white cop killed a black guy. This is the perfect news story for you to forget about what Joe Biden said.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Think about it.
Yeah, and the media is loving it.
Trust me,
go ahead.
I am furious with the police. And, we have friends and I have family and you have family that are police officers. And I respect the thin blue line and they do a job that I'm not suited to do. Yeah. And it's ridiculous that what some of them get paid for what they have to go through. But one, the media doesn't make it any better. But two, how come we don't hear about any new classes starting in the academy on how to deal with situations like this? How come there's 4 arresting officers on one guy? He's already handcuffed and your knee's on his head and he's laying down and his face is bleeding, screaming, "You're choking me, you're choking me." 4 police officers on the scene and not one fucking person was like, "Yo, ease up." Like,
yeah, well, those officers are also got fired and they're gonna be held accountable too. Yeah,
no, and at this point now, earlier on, years past, like as this was building up, like you had some leeway, but now that shit like this keeps happening, like there needs to be like an etiquette class almost.
Yeah, it should be in every police officer's mind, right? And I'm sure it is in most police officers' mind that they have to be careful what they do. You can't just kill people, because they look threatening, or even if,
I mean,
good.
Like I'm actually angry with this police officer because, like, listen, like he's already handcuffed, he's already on the ground, you already beat the shit out of, like he was bleeding from his face.
If you watch the video, it's hard to watch the video and be like, what the fuck is this cop doing? The guy posed no threat anymore. They had numbers, the cops.
Yeah.
The guy was visibly, for a while. If you actually watch the video, it's terrible. For a while, George, he becomes unresponsive because he's dead.
Yeah.
Right, and the cop continues to just keep his knee on the guy's neck, and people and other people are there like, can you check his pulse? Can you check his pulse? He's not responding. Can you check his pulse? And the cops just ignore them, and they're telling people to back up, back up. What the fuck was going on in those guys' minds? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What was going?
But you know what though? The people make it worse also, because we've seen the video where the cops were arresting somebody and they threw the Patron bottle at the cop's head. When you're in these hostile situations, it's hard. Your adrenaline's pumping.
Yeah, I agree.
You're looking over your back, but also you gotta think like
apples and oranges, in my opinion, though. Totally different. The guy's dead, and you can't even check his pulse.
Yeah, no, I agree. Because what I was about to say is, your knee is on this dude's head, and he's already got handcuffed and backup arrived. What's the worst thing that's going to happen if you take your knee off his head? He's going to sit up. Okay, there's 3 more guys now that'll fucking jump on him and make him lay back down. You know what I mean? Like, you're screaming, you're choking me, I can't breathe. Okay, I'll stop. What does it take to stop? Like backups here.
Yeah, just restrain him in a different method. That's not even that knee on the neck thing. That knee on the neck thing is not a police tactic or whatever you could say of restraining somebody, as far as I know.
I don't know what.
I don't think so, dude. I don't know what. Like, whatever. Maybe that guy had a little racism in him. Honestly, is that fucking out of? Is that out of the?
No, it's not.
Is that out of the realm of possibility? Maybe he wanted to hurt that guy. To an extent.
I mean, there's always a flip side.
Honestly, after watching, I'm telling you, watch the video, and you're gonna be like, "What is going on?" It's weird. It's weird.
That's why I'm so mad. Like, at some point, you're like, what are we doing? Like, he didn't need to be restrained this hard. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, he was restrained. You know what I mean? It was like they were just punishing him. Did they mean to kill him? Probably not, but they killed him.
No. Yeah. You know what blows my mind too is that miraculously, and I'm pretty sure it's like 99.999% a fake photo of the cop wearing a red fucking trucker hat.
That was Make America Great Again hat. That was fake.
No, it said Make Whites Great Again.
That was
Make Whites Great
That was somebody
again.
else. I saw that. Because that's
convenient.
Social media, social engineering. They just want to make fake shit and further divide people.
How convenient. I looked at that and I was like, I'm annoyed with this cop, but I was like, I don't buy this. How convenient that this guy who killed a black dude has a picture of him wearing that.
It's part of the agenda, bro. Divide everybody. Yeah. Like, I saw every especially famous people too on social media. I saw Sarah Silverman posted something on
Hollywood
Twitter the other day. Go ahead.
You want to know something? Hollywood's been very quiet throughout the COVID-19, and now Hollywood has woken up with this one. It's you don't think any fucking other, What about that story where the 2 white guys chased down the black guy that we spoke about it like a month ago? The kid jogging in
Arbery, the 2 guys who shot and killed the guy with the shotgun.
Yeah. That didn't become a big story, but I mean
it did, but it's already forgotten about basically.
Yeah, and all the fucked up shit that's happened to the black community in the past several months. Black Lives Matter hasn't popped their head out until now. They only show up when the riots start and a white cop killed a black person. I would like to know how many cops had to actually kill people in between the last time. You know what I'm saying? That just didn't make it to the news because it didn't fit the agenda. This is the perfect story.
What happens though too is in this situation there was like a video right there. You saw everything from start to finish.
But everybody wants
things
justice.
Like that catch wildfire.
Why didn't? Yes, I agree. And this situation is no different than other situations that people have died in from police officers. But everybody is fighting for justice now, and justice does need to be served.
Yes, yeah,
you're not getting me wrong. It does need to be wrong. But why didn't anybody put down their fucking phones and claim some justice?
Yes, I've heard that argument as well. What?
And I get
honestly,
it. You're attacking a police officer.
What are you supposed
to
do in that situation?
I know.
If you were standing there and you saw this was going on, could you have charged those police officers and pushed them? You're going to get arrested. They might kill you, right? They're about to kill this guy. They might kill you by accident or on purpose, whatever. Especially if you're a black person, you're probably scared to just. You might go to your whole life. It's a split-second decision, and your whole life might be ruined.
It's on the line.
And then think about it. Think of it this way. If you were one of those people recording and you charged at those cops to get them off of this guy's neck, right? You may have saved that guy's life, but now this situation never happened.
Yeah.
So now no one's looking at it this way. Now you're a criminal because you interfered with an arrest. You've been arrested. They're going to throw a book at you.
Wildfire. You stopped the wildfire and got burnt by it. You're the only one to get burnt by the wildfire.
Not you, but he would have been arrested too. But this situation didn't happen yet for you to charge in there to stop it. You didn't know. You know what I mean? How could you really? It's a no-win situation for everybody, man. And the guy lost his life in the process of it.
Yep. And you know, people are doing all this protesting and rioting and looting, because they're mourning him or whatever. Because things are wrong and people are suffering. The only people that are suffering right now are this poor guy's family. Those are the only people suffering. All those guys
for real, like the actual people suffering, they lost their
all those guys
their
breaking, all those guys breaking into the cash registers. You're angry at something that happened, but you not for a second does that family want you to burn down a fucking store in the name of their father or their brother or whatever.
Yeah,
give me a break.
Yeah, that just, like I said before, that just does more harm than good. And like, to bring it back to my point before, these social justice warriors on Twitter trying to compare it to how privileged white people can go to the state capitol with guns and protest, and that's okay. The police don't. It's not violent. The police don't shoot at them, but the police fire tear gas at minorities that are protesting. It's literally, yes, the people that went to the Capitol with guns, they were not violent. And the purpose of that protest was they were not violent. They weren't up there machine gunning down, the governor. Yeah. They were trying to show that, look, law-abiding gun owners can carry a fucking machine gun out in the open and nothing happens. And you know what I mean? The protests that have gotten violent for George, I understand why they're violent, but they are violent. We can't ignore the fact that they are actually violent. People are throwing rocks at police officers' cars' windows and smashing them. If someone throws a rock at you in the head, you could die. You know what I mean? That is fucking violence right there. The two are not the same.
I could,
if those people with the guns started shooting at the Capitol building, the cops would have opened fire on them. Right, the cops would have killed them, right, but they did not.
But you know what, though? And now here we are in this crazy year, crazy situation, crazy fucking times. I bet you I would go out on a limb and even put money on it. And I pray that it never happens. But if a Michigan cop gets killed because of this, they'd probably celebrate it. And it would look at.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of stuff on social media the past 2 days of people are encouraging looting and rioting and fuck the pigs. People are tagging up in Michigan right now. Or no, Minnesota, sorry, not Michigan. Fuck the pigs and whatnot. It's just like, man, the country's so divided, and everything that happens, it just gets worse and worse and worse. Like, and even if you do what me and you do is look at things logically, someone could listen to our whole conversation here, and I'm sure they're gonna have a problem with everything we said. Even though we're just trying to take the facts for the facts, and state things as they really were.
Yeah. Even though we agree that justice needs to be served and that this guy didn't get killed. But since we're not, damning the police and, fuck the
I'm
police.
I'm damning those police, but I'm not damning all police officers.
And, well, now we're racist.
Yeah. Right.
And
right.
That's how easy it is.
Yeah. There's illogical from every point of view,
And racism and just the general demeanor of outrage culture has gone so out of control that we've taken a country that was built on people's differences. And now we want everyone to be different, but you need to be the same. You know what I mean? You have to be you have to be a different type of person that I agree with. I want everyone to be different, but you have to be different in the way I like it to be different.
What a shitty fucking method of communication too. Like, you're not gonna get anyone to be on your side or listen to you or be like you if you treat them that way. You know what I mean? Like, if someone says something slightly you don't agree with, if you just write them off or say that they're the worst person. How are you ever going to get anyone to work with you or listen to you? That's a bad method of communication.
Because working with people who don't agree with you is too hard. That's the
But you only work with
of
people
America.
that don't. You only like, you know,
That's
the
pussification of America.
The
They
famous
gotta
saying
be
is
spoon-fed.
the famous saying is, "I only make peace with my enemies, not my allies." Right?
Mm-hmm.
When have you ever made peace with someone who's on your side? Never, because
That
they're
you
on your
already have
side.
peace with.
You have to
Yeah.
make peace with your enemies. Yeah.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, man. Like I said, we're the only adults left in an irrational time.
And then that's really not saying much.
No, not at all. Not at all.
That's about an hour and 24, bro. Time flies.
All right. Well, that was a good one. I got a lot off my chest. It's been a fucky week.
It has been.
So,
And, we're just getting started here. We're gonna be on vacation at some point next week, but we'll probably get one more.
So we might be a
podcast in
little
there and
late.
See what's going on.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
it's
might
gonna
be
be a good time.
Hopefully the situation calms down in Minnesota a little bit. And
yeah, that'd be nice.
You know, and the guys who should be punished are the ones punished, not innocent other people that have nothing to do with it.
Hopefully they're just punished and some new law or way isn't put into reality so that it hinders every other cop, all the good cops, from actually being able to complete their jobs.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a good cop, though, maybe, you know. Yeah, I agree. You know, just don't kill somebody. You know.
Yeah,
unless they should be killed because they're about to kill you.
Yeah, it's just
hard. You know, easy for me to say that. I'm not a cop, and I'm sure it's crazy. It definitely
is. I mean, our closest situation is Call of Duty, so we have no idea of what they actually have to deal with.
I don't want to judge too much because, you know, who knows what it's like to be in that situation or to make a split-second decision. But this was definitely not a split-second decision.
No, it wasn't.
This was, let me fucking, you know, step on this guy's neck, you know, and punish him.
He enjoyed punishing him,
All right, man. It's good talking to you, as always.
Cheers.
Your eyes are almost all the way closed, so we'll end it here.
That's fine. Yeah. I'm tired, man. I'm getting up early. I'm essential
back to
again.
work. Yeah, you're essential again.
Yeah.
All right. You want to sign us off?
So that was yes, I will. So that was Two Doomed Men. Thank you guys for listening. Hope you come back and enjoy the show. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Our Instagram name is at Two Doomed Men _ podcast. You could hear us on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. Give us a like, give us a share, comment on our pages. We've gotten a couple of new followers for you guys that are newly following us. Trust me, we've both checked out your pages. We love what we see. We want to hear from you guys in any way, shape, or form, and share us any chance you can.
Yeah. Shout out to Black Rifle Coffee, too. They actually liked my mention at them today.
Black Rifle Coffee, you the best.
Yep.
Thank you guys for listening. Skags, it was good as always. Cheers, pal.
Cheers. Later.
Adios, guys.